Yeah, once again, I'm back for Man at Mondays with there's your Brown, and we got special guest coming tonight, Gavin Rashad Esquire, Dollar Sign Gavin Rashad Esquire. Um, I think we're gonna open up.
Give me 1 second, Bernard. I'm doing something right quick.
Got you. We're gonna open up with him anyway. Um, I'm sure he has a lot to say. Um, as do a lot of people have a lot to say these days. On what's going on. So we got to get the judge on. Seems like he's had um, some flight issues, but that's to be expected. So I'm trying to get him in. Um, um, so that being said, um, manners and respect. How you doing, brother? Steve Hollow Mac. Um, there's been a lot going on out there today. We got I think things open back up, but I saw 57 shootings in Chicago um, over the weekend. So that's always interesting. Um, and Miami-Dade County, I got to talk about that. I got to talk about a couple other things that's going on. Life is grand. I agree with you. It can be grand, but I think
Yeah,
we
give
look.
me a second.
I think we're looking at a clown show to start off with. The biggest clown show ever told. I mean, I was looking at something today and I realized that Guatemala, and to her surprise, she was greeted with signs that Trump won. Um, much love to you as well. Um, 313, what area code is it?
Okay, how you doing, Bernard?
How you doing, sir? You all right?
I'm doing fine, man. I'm just busy trying to wrap up a few loose ends before I move on.
Well, how you doing, Shaq? Oh, Detroit. Detroit, 313. Got you. All right, Detroit in the house. Um, that's good. I'm sorry, man. I don't know the area codes. I know down here in Virginia is 804 757 um, 540. What else we got down here? Dang, I forget all these damn area codes, man. Shoot. My name ain't Ludacris, man, But Ludacris has a song called Area Codes, but um 314 St. Louis. Okay. Funny, St. Louis is always an interesting place. As a matter of fact, we was talking to a sister um about St. Louis the other day. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, man. How you doing, man? I'm good. Is Judge
I'm
coming on?
Yeah, he's in. I think he said he's just getting off a flight. He's checking into a hotel. He should be on in about I don't know
Whenever.
15 something like that. I told him. I said, "What am I see you next 30?" He said, "I see you probably before the end." So we'll try to get him in.
Uh,
Um, but
well,
anyway,
you know what? That mean this thing might go for 3 hours. I don't know if I'm
no, no. Ain't good
gonna.
at all. Yes,
Love
okay.
to talk.
I know, but I got some things I gotta handle. So
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah.
We might be about. It might go two or something.
Well,
But
let's
but
get in.
anyway, how you doing? I know you just got off another program.
I'm doing fine, brother. Yeah, I just did the NNV News, which is the Nation of Islam's uh, website, news information that they do. They do a live stream, I believe, every weekday of different news, interviewing different people. So I was privileged to come on. Shout out to Brother Willie Muhammad, who is the leader of the Mosque 46 out here in New Orleans East. Uh, he invited me. We discussed a host of topics, so I was privileged to come on the show.
How did it go? I hadn't had time. I just getting in the house really not too long ago. So how did
Oh,
it go?
It went real well. Went real well. Shout out to Shaq, CL Smooth, D Specialist, and Steve, brother Steve. I see you, and Chester Davis. Shout out to y'all. It went real well. We talked about the NFL. Well, first off, a couple of days ago, the NFL is going to be ending its race. What's it called? Race norming practices, which
Yeah.
we talked about that. We also talked about the NBA, and these unruly fans that have just gone crazy, spitting on players, throwing balls at players, popcorn, you name it, all of that stuff that's been going on. And we talked about Bill Cosby's parole hearing that was, his parole that was denied, which was no surprise to me. I knew he was going to not go through the parole hearing. I don't know if you want to talk about that or what.
No, we brought it up. Go ahead and talk about it.
Okay, well, for everybody that knows, Bill Cosby's parole was denied, but what a lot of people don't realize is that there's a reason why it was denied, and that was because he refused to meet with the board while his appeal is pending before the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania. Uh, there were oral arguments that were heard back on December 1st, 2020, in front of 7 justices, and they agreed that from what I heard, it looked positive that a couple of them actually agreed that Bill Cosby didn't get a fair trial. So, had he gone to the parole hearing, underwent the requirements of a sexual assault counselor, as well as admit his remorse and guilt, he would have thus forfeited his appeal just by doing so. And why else would he do that unless he's innocent of these charges or he believes strongly that no crime had happened? It should have never been brought to trial from the beginning, Bernard, and you know as well as I do. It's very easy for men nowadays in the era of Me Too, black men in particular, to be accused of a crime you did not commit and not be able to defend yourself. Because realistically, how can you defend yourself from an accusation 40 years ago with no hard evidence, no eyewitnesses, no physical evidence to support their claim, but because we have a mantra that says trust and believe the victim, believe all women. It does away with the due process clause in the 14th Amendment. It also does away with equal protection for under the law and for the Sixth Amendment issues, which guarantees you a fair and impartial trial. He did not get that. A precedent has been set now for every man to be attacked, every black man now, celebrity. You noticed ever since Cosby, you had a host of black celebrities that got accused of something. Jamie Foxx got accused of sexual misconduct. Deshaun Watson, Morgan Freeman got accused of stuff. So uh, we got to be mindful of this thing and what's going on because it's very dangerous.
I got a thing I meant to ask you. I was talking to a brother before we came on, and it was about Monique. And Monique made this comment about the bonnets and the thing in the hair. A lot of people, some people got upset, but I actually commended. But I don't need Monique to tell you that. That's something that you should know yourself. I mean, you don't need.
I talked about it on my platform Thursday.
Yeah, I'm glad she said it.
What she was talking about is no different than what my mother and father tell me even today before I go out of the house, which is to check myself. You're a reflection of our family. Make sure you dress right, wear a nice shirt. My folks still tell me, and I'm in my 30s, you don't go there like that. You don't have nothing better to wear. You don't have that.
Well, me and him were discussing. Matter of fact, we were discussing that this thing that like that, and we were talking about like pajamas, the bonnets, what else you see in the store? Like, when I play basketball, I do, put my I guess what you call tights or leggings or stretch pants, yoga pants or whatever. But
Yeah.
I mean, really, to tell you the truth, this is not an outfit. You don't really need to wear this in the store, as much as they do. Slides possibly too, so the LP, yes. sometimes you should dress accordingly to where you are, and you don't need to see pajamas and bonnets and
pajamas. I mean,
even the booty shorts in the store is too much. I'm like, what are you doing? I mean, what's going on here? So I had no problem when Monique said. I think people made more of a big deal out of it, but I really think it was really something that should be commonplace anyway. But me and him were talking about that, and I told him I would bring it up on the show, so I did. He said also it can show bad hygiene. That's another story. Flip flops, yes, Steve. Holla Mac, yes. True. So, what do you go ahead and reiterate what you said in your show? I heard it, but just go ahead and reiterate the points you made about it.
Oh, I just was saying, it's a reflect. They would. She was just saying no different than what my parents still say when you go out. Make sure everything's you're not nice and wrinkled. You don't look like you just woke up in the morning. And some people, some women, they dress like they just got out of bed. And out of the wrong side of bed at least, and they fell over. I mean, my goodness, the stuff I've seen, it looked like they hit their head on a bedpost. It's just Lord. I
Listen to what this lady is saying.
and
I
they
was
go to
saying,
school like that.
and so many people disagreed.
Well, that's because the people she offended are the ones that do that. That's why
exactly right. That's
they
exactly
do
right.
wrong.
I completely agree with you on that. What I was very disappointed in, more so, was not only people disagreeing, but I mean, this is something that's so commonplace that it's kind of like you didn't brush your hair or put your Sadell P. It's kind of funny because this is the same thing the guy that I was talking on the phone told me about. That's very interesting. She said the same thing.
Well, yeah, my mom.
That's what it is. The Ugg boots. That's what it is. That's what it is. The Ugg boots. Yes, that's what it is. Yes.
My mom used to tell me like, a woman not gonna go out with you if you don't keep up with yourself. A woman wants a nice groomed man. You better learn how to brush your teeth and keep your shoes shine and know how to dress properly. And they do. They pay attention. Women notice that. That's the first thing they notice is your shoes and your teeth.
You said the first thing they realize is shoes and your teeth. Yes, that's agreed. Now I was looking at some news yesterday. They've been California yesterday had a 32-year assault ban that was lifted on AR-15. Governor wants to challenge and appeal it. I thought that was a historic moment. We have to see how it goes because I'm trying to take it to Ninth Circuit. But I don't know how constitutionally they can mess with this, but they're going to try their hardest to do it.
Yes, I saw it. Well, here's the thing. Case back in 2008, District of Columbia versus Heller. Supreme Court says Second Amendment is a right that every American is afforded to every other American. However, they put a caveat in it and said that it doesn't mean it can be regulated. California had trouble again. California, okay. Can you hear me, Bernard?
I hear you.
All right. California is the largest state, I believe, the largest state in the country, with like 36 million people. Some immigrant or not, probably more. And usually, how that state goes, that's how the nation goes, because it's just a bigger population. You have another state though down in the south called Texas that doesn't go to the left like California does. Thank goodness. And I honestly think that the law, but what the court did, was a good thing, overturning that ban. Because what we have to remember, and I tie it in with Texas, it's a pro-gun state. California is not so much pro-gun. Uh, there is no law on earth that's going to stop a murder, because the Ten Commandments can't even stop murder, can't even stop adultery. And that's the word of God, right? So men have free will. Men will if it means satisfying their lust and desires and interests. So how does banning an assault, putting a quote unquote assault weapons ban, going to stop mass shootings? They had already mass shootings and killings that go on in some of the toughest districts and cities. Look at Chicago, look at DC. They have the highest crime and murder rates, and they have the toughest gun laws.
Weekend.
Yeah, they have the toughest gun laws in the country. California, you have to go through a waiting period before you can get a gun. If I came to California from Louisiana, if I'm not mistaken, I would have to, they don't recognize reciprocity in our state, and I couldn't do a concealed carry. I would have to register my gun and do all types of stuff. It has to be a certain capacity. I would practically have to leave my guns in the care of my parents before I take them in California, because otherwise I would be a criminal.
You're right.
With this stuff and with the nonsense that they're trying to pull. So there's no law on earth that's going to stop anything like this. The law needs to be overturned. What we ought to be focusing on in order to stop quote unquote mass shootings is we need to have a serious discussion about mental health. We need to correct that. We need to correct enforcement of, we got to make sure enforcement of laws are done correctly. We have to, sorry, you looking at your phone?
Yeah, guy text me, Mr. Valentine, that's not necessarily true about Texas.
Somebody said Philly is crazy. But overall, we got to make sure that we got to make sure overall we have an honest discussion about the man crisis, as Sean James would put it, that's going on in this country. Because what we see is not people who have access to guns. What we see are beta males who are frustrated with the world and life. What you saw in Atlanta, what happened at that massage parlor, that was a perfect example of a beta male gone wrong. We have to correct that and create more alpha males in this country. We need men who can do leadership. Back in the day, Bernard, guns were more readily accessible than they are today. You didn't have that many assault weapons bans that go on, and you didn't hear about any mass school shootings. And that's because what has happened today is not the availability of guns has increased, it's actually decreased. What changed was societal decay.
Okay, let me read his text. He said that's not necessarily true about Texas. All our major cities are basically Democrats, and with them bringing in more illegal to go to shape their views of Democrats. And additionally, all the people he moving here from around the country will impact Texas. If we can keep those moving in from voting Democrat, then we can hold Texas be tough. This is a good point he's making. But Texas over the weekend had a lot of the GOP sweep a lot of those local and state elections.
Texas is but I'm looking at, well, I know that their mayors in those cities predominantly are Democrat. However, the state legislatures, the governor, the people who hold the most significant power are Republicans or GOP. Not that I'm a fan of the GOP personally, but they have been the ones really that have been defending the Second Amendment and the Constitution for that matter. The Democrats are not doing it. It's whittling away under them. Most of these, I know it's a different subject, but these police killings that we have are under Democratic leaders too. So let's not even forget about that. Frank says you started hearing
mass shootings
in the mid 2000s. Well, remember Virginia Tech, which happened in 2007. That shooter used handguns. He didn't use an AR-15, and he killed 20 people. Huh?
Guy I knew, right?
Guy knew, yeah.
He went to Virginia Tech, and he said he saw that guy that morning. He was just walking through the yard, and he said, "Dang, it was him." He said, "Dang, I saw people running across and everything." He had told me about this. Yeah, it just happened. It was unexpected. Yeah. So I know a guy. That's what he told me. He went to Virginia Tech at that time. He told me about that. Yeah. I remember hearing about bad things in the 90s.
He killed 33. including himself, he killed 33 people.
Yep. Why didn't we hear about mass shootings in the 90s? Because they weren't trying to push it like that. They had a different agenda then.
Well, remember in Australia, they have pushed for, they banned all the guns. They have an assault weapons ban in 1996. The number and increase of burglaries went up right after that. And Australia didn't at that time have a definition on home evasions. So people could walk in other people's homes and not be prosecuted for that, and steal and take whatever they wanted.
Okay, so much for modern minority. She is really hitting it
Talking
off.
about that because it was Asian.
Yeah. Now speaking of that, because a lot of things went on in the last month, and I just have to wait for the judge to come in and tie it up, but got to get to some subject here. So we had a thing last week, and you brought it up on your channel, and with all due respect to you and others who've been talking about Tulsa, we had a lot of communities around the country that were burned the same way. We had more black living in Tulsa. That's why I like when you're talking about it. I came on your show, but we have to be aware that this thing happens so much. We just can't always go to one instant, because we go to one instant, that's what the media wants you to do. I want to talk about Tulsa, but we got to talk about St. Louis, D.C., Chicago, New Orleans. We had stuff all across the country where this stuff happened in the 90s.
Right.
In the 1900s. So that's why when they talked about Tulsa, with all due respect to the people, I don't really try to get to talk about it as much as Delaware too, as much as other people, because I know that they're using it for an agenda. That's why you can have the Congressional Black Caucus sitting there dancing like a damn minstrelsy.
Well, let me say this. I think the reason why it was mentioned in part, if you remember what happened last year, Donald Trump was going to come to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and do a rally. And he was criticized for that because, number one, that was the home of the Tulsa, Oklahoma race riot. And also, given the rhetoric, nobody could stand Trump. He's the big evil racist, orange racist, and so forth. So they did not want him there. Captain Sunkiss, you're not invited. Well, you bring in Joe Biden, who is basically doing, I think, the same thing as a Trump would, although Biden is much more a skilled and slick politician. He's been doing this for 47 years, 48 years. We are so gullible as a people that we will go ahead and we're so forgiving of those who have committed so many transgressions, but will not honestly repent. For him to go there and not talk about giving tangibles to these people, and instead you have the roly-poly Martin, and the Congressional Black Caucus leaders like Sheila Jackson Lee. I can't think of the other Negroes that were there, and just sing slave spirituals and dance and do a Soul Train line.
Hey, no reparation, just rhetoric and symbolism.
Right, and that's all we got. And let me say this, and and as Brother T. West says, that would have been the perfect time for him, if he was serious about it, to offer Black people reparations at Tulsa, if you're serious about it, because that's a textbook example. You're correct, Tulsa, but with Tulsa, you still have the survivors that are still alive. The witnesses are still there. They have provided testimony. A lawsuit has been filed. You can trace where the businesses were that were affected, how insurance companies got over on those businesses by labeling this as
a man coming in. Hold on for a minute. Hold on 1 second. Let me bring him in. How you doing, sir?
Hey,
Judges in the game.
Hey, how you doing? Glad to have you back for Man Up Monday, sir.
Hotel room, I guess.
Well, that's fine, man.
House, but anyway.
So you're in Houston? Judge, are you in Houston?
No, I am in Austin.
Oh, Austin, the capital. All right.
I'll have to give this place, as I haven't been here in 40 years. They've got pretty ladies walking around the airport in Austin, all kinds of exotic.
Well,
I'm Interestingly, I'm keep an eye out
Right.
for ladies. You go through Atlanta and you don't know if you're looking at a real girl or a facsimile, unreasonable facsimile.
Well, hey, look, Judge. Speaking of that, you got somebody that just sent you a message. Welcome to Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some nice ones down here in Austin, and you can tell they're
Oh, no doubt. Texas is nice.
well,
but I was in LA about 3 weeks ago, going in, coming, got to the airport. I don't want to get on anybody, but I'm worried about the health of our good sisters. Some of them need to go, a lot of them need to go to a gym. Lay off the weave and the nails and spend that time and money in a gym, because you won't be around long from the looks of things.
Well, walk around outside, jog.
Yeah.
It's mighty funny you said that. I just had one over here last night, and she was asking me about a nutrition plan and getting her diet down. So she was over here last night talking to me. I told her we're going to work on it. But with that being said, you came in right at the right time, because we were talking about Tulsa, but we were talking about that we had a lot of communities that people fought, and it wasn't just Tulsa, it was Chicago. I can go to New Orleans, all over the country. So why are we making this so much?
Tulsa's one place.
Right.
There are a lot of places, many, many. And we have a habit of seizing on one thing, and just all of a sudden that's all that happened. One horrible incident. There's a whole bunch of them, a lot
Rosewood.
And we do ourselves wrong when we are so myopic, because mainstream media decides to make a photo op BS moment so the heifer and the hog can get there and get some PR. We are so concerned about our livestock,
Right. Right. Well, out to what Judge is saying, you're right. And I was just making a point. There were other cities. I can tell you, New Orleans, the Robert Charles riots. Judge, you like this story. Robert Charles was a black man that was being harassed by the police while waiting for his girlfriend. And he was outside with another friend, and the police officers tried to rough him up. He fought back, and they shot each other, and he went and disappeared. Well, they tried to come at him at his home. He killed these cops, and he got in a shootout with them. Over a couple of days, he ended up dying in a fight, but he killed 7 of them.
Oh yeah, it happened.
You have to man up, yeah. So, and I think part of it too, Tulsa, the reason why it's getting recognition is it's an anniversary, but it's also one more year. They have the elections coming up, and I think that for the House, for who's going to control the House, and I think that's the main reason why we saw President Biden and all the others out there. So all the blacks that were out there with them, we're going to vote Democrat and be sure to put them back in power.
I got disgusted. I had to turn off what was that doing? They were doing that minstrel show with the banjos and buck dancing and
the Soul Train line.
That looked disgusting. Buck dancing, slave.
Exactly.
Like I was saying on somebody's show, maybe my own, I said, they've got Gay Pride Month, and they run around acting exactly opposite of prideful. It's like a burlesque. They walk around in black leather chaps with their butts out and their penises hung out. And I said, that would be like us having a Black Pride moment, and everybody shows up in slave attire or blackface like a minstrel, or doing buck dancing, or jerking along like a trained monkey on a silver chain while the organ grinder was doing his thing. And that's what the Negroes were doing. Proudly trying to, I guess, why would they assume that if those people could be brought forward in a time machine slowly instead of dying when they did, they wouldn't be doing something else besides buck dancing and dealing with a banjo, and I can tell you that banjo stuff was plantation, and we're talking about 35 plus 20. We're talking about 55 years later.
Right.
Okay. Hold on 1 second. Okay. Yeah, Judge. People saying welcome to Austin, Texas. But I do want to say something that you said right there. I see the Asian persuasion. Miss Harris went to Guatemala today, and they told her they told her they told her Trump won, and basically she told them that they got to protect the borders. So you know, so she went over
They
there.
criticized her for not going to the Mexican border.
Oh yeah. Did you see the U.S. Supreme Court case they released saying if they came in as illegal, the law does not permit them getting a green card?
No, I didn't.
That no, it was a unanimous opinion too. So that includes the Bush Bunny boys and the Bush boys and the
Hold on, trying to get this link Gavin sent me.
guys. So they just got knocked out the bout.
It's a sound, man.
That's what you were talking about, Judge?
Yeah, I know. And
Here we go.
Those are the survivors. So that's all they gave those people.
I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, walking up to freedom. One more time, everybody. Gonna let nobody
Yeah. Look what the people wrote at the bottom.
these jerk faces made a spectacle out of a tragedy. That's like fools singing and dancing at the remains of the Auschwitz extermination camp if they were Jews. That would be disgusting. Do you expect Jewish people to go prancing around Auschwitz or any of those other concentration camps singing songs and stuff like that and dancing and all this other nonsense? These Negroes ought to be deeply ashamed. That's like going to a grave dancing. And not even that New Orleans style of laying somebody to rest with a band. It's just like going there and disturbing the dead, jumping up and down, having a voodoo dance. It's in Oklahoma up there. That's just it's no respect. It's just a slap in the
Talking
face.
about the
It should be approached in a solemn fashion with remembrance and a determination never again. And these fools are buck dancing to generate support for the party.
Well, look, let me say something here, Judge.
Joe Biden got his butt up in there trying to pimp that situation. By the way, I got so mad. It took me 4 tries to get Judge Joe Brown up here for the screen name. I'd put Judge and then I got Joe and then hit the B and it would want to put Biden in there automatically.
That's still exactly there, Bernard.
Oh, let me pull this crap up, man. Come on, man.
What Judge was talking about.
Torture me today. They're going to torture me, man. You know I can't watch these clown shows like this, right? I'm like, come on, man.
You hear that?
Come on, man. What are we even looking at, man?
I think that's Tariq put that up. I think Tariq put the fiddle up.
That's like
why you making it Judge mad, man?
Bojangles.
That's sick shit, man.
Boing, boing.
Hey, Gavin, the judge said he wanted to get this thing out of here, man. Come on, man. Like Monique 2C said, this is buffoonery, man. What are we talking about?
I don't lose my please.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Hey, man. She said, see, the queen said, make it stop, man. Come on, the clown show's over, man. The clown show is done. No more clown show.
How about come Queenla? Always trying to dance with what is it, Chucks and Pearls or whatever that is.
The AKA.
Yeah, it's Bucks and Pearls. My mother was an AKA. AKA disrespect. She's not happy behind the wall. She got made in 1934. So I respect that. I'm an alpha, but what the hell is this Chucks and Pearls they're talking about? Chucks are those shoes, aren't they?
Yeah.
Those goof looking tan boots that I saw her parading down an airplane stairway, portable stair. That looks ridiculous.
They've been quiet as of late.
They ought to. And
well,
I'm on bust their bubble. They keep bragging about other frats and sororities or Jay because we got
colors that they're talking about because she wear.
No, hold on. The AKAs, I'm going to bust a bubble of theirs. They're going around bragging the other frats and sororities are angry or jealous because this is the first Black Greek organization to get a vice president. Wrong. Alpha Phi Alpha had one. He was vice president of the United States of America, and he was the Democratic Party candidate for president in an unsuccessful run against Richard Tricky Dick, I am not a crook Nixon. And Hubert Humphrey was a tall, bald-headed, blonde-eyed white boy who got made with a lot of hardwood.
There you go, Judge.
Yeah, I know, Chucks and Bucks. God. So you don't even have the first, and like the last one, who was a member of a Black frat. He wasn't Black. This one's not Black. She's a Hindu Tamil Brahmin, also known in anthropology language as an Indo-Aryan. That same bunch Hitler claimed, but he lied, and he told the lie so long to boost the German people's morale by saying there were blonde-haired, blue-eyed supermen from the far north. That was a lie. What they look like is come Queenla Imhoff.
Well, speaking of that, I got to move on to another topic because we had a lot of, we had a lot of things happen last month. Last month was Asian American History Month, and they got the bill passed last month as well. I hadn't year on for Man Up Monday, so talk about that Asian thing. You know about it.
About the Asian Protection Act. Asians are decent people. They need protection, but everything that was needed is there. It was just a subterfuge to get further encroachment into the First Amendment, Fourth, Fifth Amendment, and due process generally. It is moving us very close to establishing legally the apparatus needed for a fascist state. And I said to both of you months ago that this thing that happened in January at the Capitol, January 6th, is the same moment in time when the German Nazi Party burnt down the Reichstag in 1933-34, and then they instituted emergency legislation that gave them the authority to clamp down on everything. No more free speech, which we don't seem to have because private mainstream media has controlled the narrative and they're propagandizing, and people are saying, well, they're private. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, they can do what they want. No, they can't. They've got an FCC license to operate using the publicly owned airways. And if they're going to carry anything under the Constitution, under the laws of the United States of America, they cannot monopolize those airways to spread one particular political and social and cultural perspective. They cannot censor everybody else for merely speaking First Amendment protected speech that is not actionable when it comes to any civil liability. In terms of defamation, there is no such thing as any law that ought to be passed or any regulation that says you can't use permitted speech if the truth of it makes other people uncomfortable. That is just not the American way. And black folks support it because, of course, we're so ignorant. We haven't a clue as to what the devil the Constitution says. But our black folk, colored folk, people of color, Negro, buck
Well,
dancing, stepping, fetch it, Bojangles, Negroes,
but
colored.
Judge, when I read the law, it could also bring in more surveillance on you. What are your thoughts?
That act is a subterfuge because to protect Asians, there was no need for an Asian Protection Act. What was necessary under the law already exists and has for a long time. There's a 1946 congressional act that would apply and does everything that they claim this act does, but the act goes further and it is actually just a smokescreen, a pretty caption for some draconian reduction in the rights of U.S. citizens and to impose liabilities and criminal penalties for exercise of speech. One thing I do want to say is that in the entire history of the United States of America, there's only one act that mentions a black man's name. There is no act in the history of this country that says colored, Negro, black, Afro-American, African-American. But you have an Asian Protection Act, but there's not one that's a Black Protection Act. Not one. They use like former slaves or the freed slaves. You don't say black. And that's 160 some years ago, 150 years ago, but not one. And then that goes to this thing too with the police reform bill. They call it the George Floyd reform bill. Now, I just think how a great grandchild of mine is going to react to that 50 years in the future when maybe great granddaddy could explain to you, honey, why we named this after a dead junkie who 6'7" got his ass whooped by a 5'8", 5'9", 135-pound white boy, and he weighed 250. Okay, how are you going to explain that? He didn't get shot. And as we've talked about before, what about the other black folk who've been gunned down recently? Gunned down, not gotten an ass whooping put on them. And effectively, that's what it is. So why don't you just call it the Police Reform Act? Why you want to go put that label on it? Out of all of the tens of thousands of black folk who have been slaughtered by racist activity, you want to go pick that person to put the name on it. It's a subtle dig. It's a subconscious oppression that was intended to mess with our minds. And some of us.
Gavin, go ahead and tell you what you think about it. I know me and you talked about it, but go ahead and just bring it back. Run one time around the horn.
Yeah, well, I agree with the judge on it. I think, and Tariq Nasheed was actually talking about this yesterday about naming a bill after George Floyd. I think it would be an insult if they did name something like that after him, especially, and I'm going to talk about the Asian bill as well, just because of the fact that, number one, we don't even have a bill that was named after any of our other activists who were murdered. I mean, well, even though he wasn't an activist, we're talking about martyrs. Emmett Till is a martyr. Emmett Till is a child.
Hold on, Gavin. I got this one brother. He wanted to come in and talk to the judge about this Monique thing, so I'm gonna let him get his thoughts in, but he might talk about one other thing. Go ahead and finish what you're doing. Hey, Hannibal, how you doing, sir?
Hey, how y'all doing? How you doing, Judge?
Respect, sir.
Yeah, well, I really don't want to talk too much about what she said to the ladies. It's just what I saw after with so-called grown men making videos wearing a bonnet, saying that they stand with the women wearing that bonnet in public. And you have always told us and talked to black men about being men. And you know, I'm not talking down on us, but it's like black men really don't take manhood and masculinity serious. And what Monique was doing was basically asking for women to, start, treating yourself better, start looking better out in public, have some pride, have some self-respect. And for black men to like joke and actually want to get brownie points for women, it's kind of sad. And I have an issue with it because number one, it's nasty for any a man or a woman to wear their pajamas outside and then come back in the house and lay in that bed with your pajamas on. And you also are sending a message to people that you just woke up and left out the house without brushing your teeth and washing your face. And let's just be honest, a lot of people who's going outside wearing their pajamas are just nasty people who have bad hygiene. And we need to start taking our appearance value more serious than thinking everything is a damn joke and walk around with this I don't care attitude. Because if you're going outside and you're looking raggedy and nasty, nobody's going to ever take you serious in life.
Oh,
and
man.
it's getting
You're speaking. Amen.
I said the same thing.
Yeah, your appearance value is very important. And I think, okay, women do it, all right? But it's another thing when men do it. And it's very effeminate for a man to see a woman do it, and then you want to do the exact same thing. I'm only 34. So I remember when this trend started happening when I was in high school. So I saw the women do it. But then I started to see young men come out and go to school and they wearing pajama pants the whole 8 hours of the day. And I'm saying to myself, you just woke up and you just didn't care about how you look. Now, if you gotta wear the same pants every day because your parents can't buy you new clothes, you could just wear the same pants. Don't come outside with pajama pants on. As a man, we gotta take ourselves serious. And in America, we really don't. And we just showed the whole world that we don't take our masculinity serious. We don't care about manhood. And the whole world is basically laughing at us at this point.
Okay, brother, let me interrupt you. I'm walking through the airport, two black women in there, not only with pajamas. One of them had on a bathrobe, and both of them had on these nasty slide furry house shoes. And what is
Oh shit.
I spoke at a graduation ceremony before COVID, and the girls were coming up to get their diplomas, and instead of matching the moment, you just graduated. Several of them, and the principal and I were talking, came up there with these fuzzy slide house shoes on. What is that? Like, come on now.
Yeah, it's like at this point we know that men are not in a household. So everybody's running amok. And we can't have, well, not we, but women can't have it both ways. You can't ask for a man and he's in the house, but he doesn't. You don't want him to be the leader. You want to lead, but you just want him in the back, and you just want to give orders because no man is going to send his daughter or child outside the house in their pajamas. It's just not going to happen. You're going to clean your body, put on some clean clothes, and go outside. Now, if it comes to a point where you running late, well, you need to have some discipline and get up on time and leave out the house in a timely manner. You know, it's just a lot, Judge. And I just want to say,
Well, I'm
I
glad.
appreciate, yeah, I appreciate you. I grew up watching you as a child. You know what I'm saying? And to speak to you, it's an honor, man. Keep up
Well,
the good work.
honor, young man. I'm proud that you're doing what you're doing because it makes what I did worthwhile. Now you carry on. Pretty soon I ain't gonna be around. You pick up the baton and you carry it. That's what we need, young men like
Yeah,
and Brother Johnson, who's your same age. That's
yeah.
what.
And the only reason why I relate because my father raised me. So when I hear you speak, I don't have a problem at all. I don't care if you was yelling and cursing. Sometimes it's needed because a lot of people don't get it when you have a calm voice and you speaking with big words. They don't get it. But when you got a little bass in your voice and you telling us to basically get our shit together, they gonna listen. Now the ones who don't want to listen, it is what it is.
Well, you can. This is deplorable and disgusting. That you act in a reprehensible fashion. You say, you punk ass, act like you got some balls. Man
That's
up.
what that's what I've said. And see, this is a message to the men out there. If you don't want to deal with these women that's wearing these bonnets and they pajamas outside, you need to go hang out in other places where women are dressed appropriately. They know how to behave and conduct themselves as women. Seriously. And stop getting with these type of women that's just reckless.
Malcolm said it about men, but it applies to women. Malcolm said a processed head equates to a processed mind.
Hmm.
Women with the equivalent of processed head, they have processed mind. They're wearing pajamas out there because you see two of them are walking along. Both of them come out of the house running to get to the air, and then
Yeah.
what do they do if the plane goes down? It happens,
Yeah.
air disasters, popular series. What you gonna do out there in the woods? You got one house shoe on and some PJs on.
It's like when my parents used to tell me, my mom could tell me, put a clean pair of drawers on in case you go to the hospital.
Yeah.
What can happen?
Oh, see,
Bill
this
Cosby
is
talked about that in his
yeah,
stand special himself. Yeah,
yeah. You should always leave out the house
right.
like with your teeth brushed, clean your face. You got the little stuff all in your eye, and it's like I don't, man. We don't get it. We don't get it, man. I think America has given us that luxury to be, lazy at times. Don't take nothing serious because daddy government got you, and just a whole bunch of stuff. And it's like we kind of like a laughing stock,
It's kind of
especially.
And Judge, hold on for a minute. He's in California.
well, I was just out there. What I was saying, I'm gonna add other detail to this mix. The two that had on the pajamas in the scuffed up, dirty slide house. One of them had all of these iridescent colors and rhinestones and stuff set in her nails. She had a two job walking around in nasty looking pajamas. It's like, baby, take yourself with spend that money on nails. It does not make up for the rest of you.
Yes, yeah.
I mean,
No, we.
taste And see, there are two things. Sexy doesn't mean you look tawdry or make it look like you a hoe. That's not sexy. That's just a hoe. All right. So don't look like you trying to be a streetwalker trying to bring in business. Sexy is one thing, obscene is another. And it's like, come on. What is this where we can't be attractive? And another thing I don't like, see, I grew up in an era where the sisters were wearing afros, their natural hair. You know, they weren't frying it.
Yeah.
Now, they don't fry it, but they get 15 pounds. But we know your hair ain't down to your butt parts. We know you can pull it off if it's moderate. We know it's wild, wearing crazy stuff in their hair, but some of them, they look like a mop the way they do it. It's like,
Yeah, and what I want to speak on that, Judge. I used to have locks, right? And it's a lot of reasons why I cut them, but now I used to go to the shop, and there were women coming in there with the lace front wig, and I swear on my soul, a few women that came in there, and when they had to take it off, they stunk up the whole shop. And this is why I'm not lying to you. And this is why I tell people that women who wear weave all the time, it's like you got bad hygiene.
you know, the worst part,
Somebody else's hair.
worse than,
Then you're not washing your hair out. You're not washing your hair.
wait a minute, worse than that are the ones that get their little 7, 8, 9-year-old daughters with all this weave in their heads when they ought to be brushing their daughter's hair and bonding with them and, doing the mama daughter thing. But they put this in their daughter's hair and the little girls start after a while because they too, like, why you put that in your daughter's hair? I ain't got time every morning to be going through all the changes. She, oh yeah, but she smells. What? Yeah, I can smell her.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah, and I had to tell my woman, I said, you
self-esteem thing. To me, it's a self-esteem thing because I came up and went to high school at St. Augustine and in New Orleans, and we were a strict school. They had a strict code of conduct for young men, how we kept our hair. Couldn't have that. I mean, it was different in the 70s, but when I was going there, it had to be cut a certain length. You had to wear a belt tied to school. Shoes had to be shined, and your buckle, things of that nature. Even if you go in the military, you have to have all of that together, as a code of conduct with where you dress, how you keep your uniforms pressed and so forth. I used to press my shirts, the night before. My pants, same thing. So I think it just boils down to people just don't care anymore.
You're right.
They don't, because I had to tell my woman, she has long hair, and I sat down and talked to her. I said, you have no reason to wear weaves. Seriously, you have no good reason. And so she bring up excuses talking about she don't like doing her hair and all that. I said, you just lazy. That's all that is. I'm asking you nicely to stop wearing it because it actually turns me off. And it does have a smell to it after a while. I know you're not a dirty person, but just because you see other women doing it don't mean you need to do it. A lot of these women too do be having long hair. So I'm trying to figure out, why are you wearing this? Why are you coming to the shop and stinking up the whole shop?
And long fingernails too, because I don't know how they wipe their ass.
And then another thing too, when it comes to this weave stuff, I'm gonna tell you why it's really a big problem with me. It's not that they wearing it; they are making other people rich and sending their kids to school, to Harvard, to Yale, and stuff like that. That's why I have an issue with weave. That's my only issue. You're giving your money to a whole group of people who don't like us, who don't respect us. When I stayed in Chicago, I've witnessed them treat the black women crazy. Cause I stayed in that area where the man even protested and got locked up, but that was for the nail shop. That's my only issue. And it needs to stop at this point. Because you can't say that you want the black community to do better where we still have Arabs and Asians and other people in our community selling this stuff to us and taking the money away from us. We basically planning our own destruction.
Okay, you know, Ray, they used to have street racing 55 years ago, 60 years ago, and the phrase was "run what you brung." I think these sisters need to take a page out that book and wear what they bear. In other words, what your hair is, wear that. There ain't nothing to be ashamed of. You can have it short, you can have it long, but wear what you got. Bring it along. So they put all of this stuff that they get from overseas that people charge them a lot to put in their heads. You're right. They've got that pipeline, and it's just money running out of the black community going nowhere. And then the idea of putting that much time sitting in a chair while somebody weaves that stuff in the extension so you can get it braided up, hang down, and you sit on it,
Right.
And it just strikes me as, why the hell do we always have to look like cartoons? Let me illustrate. Hold on. Now,
Yeah, because I'm gonna follow behind to what he's saying. I appreciate this.
The fitted cap, but you know the
Right.
kind of little band back there, one size fits all. Dude got his
Mm-hmm.
just got out of bed, his lint in it. He's got his pants hung down, belted below his butt, and he's scuffling because he can't walk, and he got a little hat turned on like this, you know.
I used to be a knucklehead. I know. Yeah.
Native man weighs 280 pounds, going on 300, and her bare belly is overlapping her gray tights, and you can see every dimple and ripple and item of cellulite that's in her legs, and she's scuffing in with those dirty looking house shoe things, and it's like, are you auditioning for a cartoon show or something? What are you doing? For a carnival act?
So I just want to follow behind that, right? Because you're saying that people are looking like characters, basically. So like I said, I'm 34 years old, and I remember when women were looking very feminine in the 90s when I was young. I'm starting to see a trend that women are imitating the other group of, well, the group of people that's imitating a woman, if you get what I'm saying, right? So pay attention to how they putting on this makeup. See, they was not wearing makeup like this in the 90s. And I know that for a fact. And you can go look at the movies that was made in the 90s. Look at the TV shows. Now they're looking like these people. And I don't even see how these dudes are even attracted to this stuff at this point. Because I always have to ask a question when I see pictures. I say, is that a woman or because that looks nasty. It's a chick on Instagram.
Wait a minute. You about to segue into my next topic, man. You about to segue next topic because this is Pride Month. So
I'm gonna say this. Yeah, I'm gonna say this though. I love women. That's all I gotta say, and I just want y'all to look feminine. That's all.
Good. But yeah, because I was about to go into Pride Month because we got a month we got to watch out because I'm gonna see all types of tricks, Equality Act. They're gonna try to pass that. Actually, I was gonna bring that up to the judge. So since you went ahead and brought it up with the hair and the makeup, make them do it or make it attract them. Well, thank you for bringing it up because you just segued into the thing I was about to talk about.
one point, gentlemen. How often do you hear this thing that they don't dress for men anymore? They dress for themselves.
I've been
Yeah,
hearing
I
that
heard that.
since.
And what
Yeah,
does
I've been hearing that since I was
That's a lie.
15.
okay? Now I cracked
I've
on
been
some.
hearing it.
She thought she did all this and that. She didn't know who I was because I had a mask on. And I said, "You dress for yourself." And why? She's because this is from my side. This is the way I think of myself. I said, "You look nasty." I said, "It's unattractive." And that says a lot about you that's negative. What kind of image do you have? All throughout known history, prehistory, and before we were pre-people, male and female are trying to attract each other. So all of a sudden you listen to some sick feminists and some lesbians, and you going off into this crazy mess about you don't want to attract men. You drove it.
Right, right.
And then you know what else goes with that? These pathetic young guys, white, black, brown, red, yellow, 25 and under, are pathetic. Do you know there are more boy virgins 25 and under than there are girl virgins?
I do know that,
I
and
can,
Yeah,
and
I
yeah, they're called incel. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot going on, man. And see, I
I
don't, you know.
doing it.
Now go ahead.
I know who's doing it. You know who's doing it. Everybody knows who's doing it. And they're celebrating that Rainbow Skittles thing this month.
Yeah, they really trying to make a disconnect. They trying to disconnect the man and the woman from each other because it's getting to a point where only way they communicate with each other is through a phone and OnlyFans.
I saw
That's it.
only fan.
You don't
Yo,
want
that's
to.
some crazy
So you
stuff,
don't
man.
want to. Y'all don't want to touch each other. You want the man to look at you on the phone while you shake your goods. You wasting it. Then you're going to be worse than the older women right now. So by the time you turn 30, nobody want to deal with you. Like, shit, we got to pay attention because I knew something was wrong when I was, a teenager, and I'm like, damn, why? What's up with these girls? Well, they have just a attitude. They combative. I never in my life wanted to be combative with a woman. Never, and I just don't see what's the purpose. But when we can't communicate, something's wrong there. And a lot of people act like, or they're just normal. That's not normal. We don't communicate at all. So
Well,
it.
let me say
wait.
something here. I gotta break this in. I gotta bring this in because there's been a lot of talk about Pride parades, Pride Month, and stuff. And I've been looking around, and I know this month they're gonna bring up the Equality Act. Gavin knows it. Me and him talked about it. Hannibal, I know you probably read the Equality Act, because you know what it is about, and the
yeah,
judge has talked about it. So my take on this thing is, it's hard to put a genie back in the bottle. You got to do something because what Hannibal and we all saying, we're getting locked into a lot of degenerate behavior by people that we really want nothing to
very
be
degenerate.
around when you're getting into passing laws for them. Like the judge would say, keep it to yourself. I mean, they say don't ask, don't tell, but the problem is, daggone, everybody wants to tell now. I do not care about your sexual preferences, really, but I don't want to around my children if I had children, right? That's the
Hey,
problem.
Right.
bedroom. Keep it in the bedroom. The rest of us don't put out in the middle of the street what we do. They want to put it out there.
Nope.
Well, it's not the matter they want. They already have. They've been doing it for a long time, starting especially in the 70s when they had TV shows. I mean, back then it was a joke if you saw shows like Three's Company and even All in the
Yeah,
Family.
yeah.
They had a special episode like My Cousin Liz and things, Cousin Liz and stuff like that. They've always had it, but it wasn't something that was glorified. It was taboo still, even at that point.
Hmm.
And push something like that, just like it was unheard of for an unmarried man and unmarried woman to be living together. They called it shacking, but now, that's common. And then what's going on with this? is that they have not only put it in the mainstream, but they have gotten so bold to justify having a fetish that they want to punish you for saying you got a problem with it.
Oh,
My
wait,
father had
If it's not it's gonna die off anyway.
wait a minute.
my father just had to deal with his first troll because he was because he was expressing his religious belief about it because one of my cousins had said he supports Pride Month and all this stuff, and all he said was it's a sin, it's wrong. That's all he said. And you know what? That's his First Amendment right, just like it's your First Amendment right to agree with it.
Yeah.
And we don't have, but there's no such thing as having an opinion anymore because everybody gets so easily offended.
Wait a minute. Let me tell you what I just got through having to deal with on this airplane. I came from Memphis. I had to go to Atlanta, make a connection in Atlanta to come to Austin. So when I get on the plane and to go to Austin, I'm in first class, and they've got a TV screen on the back of the seat in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
Screen comes on. We're celebrating Gay Pride Month, and they got all these things, and they got the whole message about, the seat belts and the oxygen mask is in rainbow. And then when you're right and you're trying to pick one of these things, I go to movies, bring all of these obscure movies out about gay shit, like, okay, fine, but come on, ain't there one movie in here that's, other than Tom and Jerry, that doesn't have to do with that? That's their business. But I mean, I don't swing like that. I don't want to, look at two women kissing on the ad or the trailer.
Right.
Found a movie.
I pronounce you Chuck and Larry, things of that nature. Well, but that's the thing, Judge.
That was okay, but I mean,
Well, it was a comedy.
Wait, when they passed out the snacks, they got a rainbow on the snacks. Talking about memory, like, no. I said, here, take that back. You got something that doesn't
my
have.
Kellogg's box in the trash last month, dude.
I was in
Just said take it back.
I was in Winn-Dixie
Coca-Cola, all of them.
I was in the grocery store last week in Winn-Dixie, and as I'm passing the bakery aisle, I saw had rainbows on it. Pride, love is love, all this stuff. I mean, they would never. What's interesting though, when they tried it on that Christian baker, somebody did an experiment in Detroit in the Arab community and tried to do that same shit with the Muslims, and they ran his ass out of there. See, they mess with the right ones.
Yeah, because the Muslim will take it to the extreme.
They don't bring that in the Muslim community. They wouldn't even bring it in the Jewish bakery because the president, I believe the leaders of the Orthodox Jewish community, they actually came out last year saying themselves, we will not preach homosexuality or LGBTQ in our schools in the Jewish community. They're not accepting.
Yeah, they don't play, man.
Accepted because a lot of them have punked out.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go because the reason I'm here, I just got a communique from them. They got some paperwork for me to look at. So I'm going to have
one thing before you go, Judge. Bring this up. I got bring one thing before you go. Bring one thing up about just talk about for 2 or 3 minutes about the Kwame Brown situation. That was pretty good.
Yeah, Kwame Brown, I was on his show and he was on mine, all right? 2 consecutive weeks. So on his show, it was live to air on YouTube.
Right, I watched that one, yeah.
Yeah. Now, while it was live, it got up to 46K, which beat Biden's ass. He only had 21K for the max actually looked. It quickly ran. And it's then something funny got happened. It was climbing quickly. It got to 2.6 million. And then once
I witnessed it.
But the 2.6 million dropped down to 2.4, and then quickly dropped down to 2.1, then immediately dropped down to 1.6, and then went down to 1.1. So how do you take away 1.5 million viewers? Except what you're trying to do is convince folk that not that many people were interested. See, it was climbing, and then all of a sudden it starts dropping.
Oh,
see, that's
Well,
just
yeah, I think I screenshot because that was like the most I seen. I think it was like 46K. So yeah, I've witnessed this. You're not lying about it. I still got the screenshot. Them numbers was climbing. This the most live I ever seen on YouTube.
yeah. And see, Kwame Brown, no relation to this Brown, but he's a single parent dad, and he's taking care of his children, and he has all of
Yeah,
these investments that he's got. He's a businessman.
right.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'll tell you another thing. I talked to some, we got a new group we've put together. And this is an unusual bunch of brothers. If you saw them, you'd think brothers, ordinary brothers. But one, they're astrophysicists, theoretical physicists, nuclear physicists, chemists, a whole bunch of the PhDs to just say, I had a little nerd in me, so I went with that. So I designed rockets, or rocket science, literally.
Wow.
We want to do
Wow.
about a man up thing so that every brother doesn't ideate and fixate on basketball so he doesn't deal with developing his brain. If you're 6'6", 6'7", 6'5", okay, play ball if you have the hand-eye coordination. At least you can get through college. But I've known Magic Johnson for 35 years. He's gonna tell you to your face if you ask him to talk. He said, "No, don't talk to me about basketball. That was means to an end." I always wanted to be a businessman. If I paid attention when I played ball, that was to get me a steak. He said they have people there where they have talent, but unlike me and some other select few who think of it as a way to get a steak and invest so you can run a business or get a business or do something constructive, all they think about is basketball, and that means you turn 30, it's about over. So what's about the
Yeah.
rest of your life?
I want to say something to you, Judge, right quick. I do thank you for shouting out me and others on the show. And even you probably interviewed so many people, you probably even forgot some others. But
I mean, bottom line is,
so I do want to thank you for that. But that was a wonderful interview that you and Kwame had, and we gotta give you props for it.
Right. Over 2 million views.
Screen about Kamala Harris passing out candy to reporters. And speaking of which, into down, why does
That's crazy.
her husband's name since she's Mrs. Imhoff?
Good question. She is Mrs. Imhoff.
Cosby, Mrs. Hillary Clinton, Mrs. Sarah Palin, but we got Miss Harris.
Tells you a lot.
Well, Judge, I know you say you just getting to Austin and you got to go. So I do need you to shout out two things. I know you got the barbecue thing going on, and
okay, get your freak
and you
on.
got the show.
Get your freak on. Brown barbecue. You be the judge. I was the judge, and it's some good stuff. Kinds of sauce, regular, OG, and hot. And we have powdered seasonings. We've got chicken links. We're going to have some of this so the vegans can eat it. We're going to have
Beyond Burger,
meat links. We have recipes for greens. And in fact, we did a video on how to cook greens right. Pick them so instead of doing them slow like Granny, who had a moment to run her mouth off to all of her girl folk while she was picking. Got it quickly. A recipe with our stuff: coleslaw, beans, and how to do barbecue right. And I am working on some stuff that we're going to submit for patent protection. Slow cooking devices to do barbecue right. You're not going to boil it anything. You either use gas, electricity, propane, charcoal, and or wood. So you can put it on and leave it, not have to worry about it burning.
Oh, that's next level, Judge. That's next level.
How do people get in contact with you?
Barbecue, vitamin.
Yeah.
How do people get in contact with you?
They it's going to be sold at Kroger, Walmart, and Anderton so far, and you will be able to get it online. Now, the website's not active, but it's going to be JJBBBQ, Judge Joe.
Hold on a second, guys. Hold on.
JJBBQ.
And how they get in contact with you on Twitter and everything? You know, so they can reach out to you on Twitter.
Judge Joe Brown TV. And on Fridays, you know, if I'm not on your show and Valerie Denise's stuff the rest of the week, or the real Dana and some other people, Friday is 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 477-1167.
Yeah, I say you're trying to be an affiliate. What's good? He designs websites. Somebody say you're trying to be an affiliate, man.
Now, the other thing, too, is the show is syndicated on iHeart and radio and a bunch of other stuff. You can Google it, Judge Joe Brown Radio, or Judge Joe Brown with Valerie Denise Jones, she's the producer and director. Good sister.
Well, Judge, I just want to say I thank you for coming on, and hope you have a great time in Austin. And Gavin, he got a spice company he promoting too. He got it in his hand right there.
You have to get with me on that one. I like that.
That's what I want to do. This is Nani's. I gotta put created right here in New Orleans, out in Westwego. I worked on it with my father and I. We're gonna have a website. Our website will be coming up soon. I think by this week it'll go active, so people can purchase it from our store online. And we're trying to see about getting into different markets as well, like Walmart and Rouse's and so forth. So
I'm gonna cop that once you put it up there.
Let me go there.
All right, Judge.
All right,
all right, Judge. Peace.
Thank
Solid.
you for your contribution. Those were some excellent points.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Thank you.
I'm out.
All right.
All right, take your time.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man, no problem, man. I'm
Appreciate
glad I was able to bring you in. I'm glad I was able to bring you in.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, good to meet you, brother. Somebody asked you earlier, everywhere it goes in the country right now, it's hot. So what you doing wearing a hoodie?
Nah, in California, I'm gonna tell you this. Last week it was hot. Right now it's about 60 degrees. And you gotta understand, in certain parts of California, the weather is not the same. So southern is hot. In Northern California, I think the most it'll probably get up to about 80 on a good day. You know? So just because I'm in California, that don't mean the whole state is at 80 to 90 degrees, you know? So I got a hoodie on because the temperature didn't drop. Yeah, the temperature didn't drop.
Well, it's 91 here today. It was 51 last Sunday. It's 91 here. They've been 90 all last week. But yeah, man, I'm glad you was able to bring in them points. And we do thank you for your contribution, man. That was an excellent point you was making. And you out there in California, the land of the freaks. So
yeah. Yeah, you know, I just wanted to come in and
I'm not trying to get angry again. No comment.
Yeah, I just wanted to, you know, add on and talk to the judge and, you know what I'm saying, just build with y'all, man. Because, you know, I'll be in the clouds watching both of y'all shows. I'm subscribed to it, so.
Well, thank you, man.
You know?
That was interesting.
Yeah.
Gavin, actually, me and him were talking earlier about this thing, and he said he wanted to bring in the thing. So my fault, Gavin, because we were talking about the Asian thing. I didn't mean to cut you off, but he really wanted to get this in. That's my fault. So.
All right, that's no problem. Sure,
But
sure.
if you want, but I do want you to bring up one more thing about the Asian thing. If you can remember what you were saying, if you can't, it's fine. But you were talking about the law. Just go ahead and bring it up.
Well, what I was just saying is that was to what Judge Joe Brown was even saying. There's a Fourth Amendment implication with all of this because it gives the Attorney General the power to actually set up outlines, and they can monitor those that are accused of bullying, those that are accused of saying anything to an Asian American. And that's very dangerous because if you set that precedent, what you're allowing basically is more surveillance. The United States, right now, we're on the brink of being a fascist country. We're actually past that point.
Yes.
Because when you have laws, not just like this, but think of the Patriot Act that subjects you to further unreasonable searches and seizures. You have the National Defense Authorization Act that allows the government to hold captors or accused terrorists without due process, without habeas corpus. It suspends that. All of those things that just come up. And then you're talking about Agenda 21 that the United Nations is trying to push. You think of all of that stuff. I look at what's going on here. I look at the laws that are being passed, the Equality Act. You know, how is it that all of this stuff is being just passed right before us, but we're not doing the research? We give up our rights because we don't read. Like, I can guarantee you, do y'all know that how the Federal Reserve was created? What they did when they met on Jekyll Island, the people who created that in 1913, they made sure that act during the Christmas holidays, because by being Christmas holidays, the Congress was in a hurry to get home, so they weren't going to read those bills. They wasn't going to read the bill and those 700 pages of stuff, because it would have taken them, a much longer time for them to look at.
And the Patriot Act is 380 some pages itself. Go figure that out.
So they got slick. They was slick. Okay.
Yeah.
They was real slick. Wow, that's crazy. Come on, dog.
Here in 1913, the FBI and I believe the IRS were created.
You're right about that. Because that was right around the time when Marcus Garvey had his movement too. Man,
he got deported a little bit later on.
Right. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Well, yeah. Well, let me say something to you. Amber, do you got Cash App or anything? Donate to you? Somebody want to donate to your bones or anything?
No, you know what? Hit my PayPal. My it's NICO.REED. Put it in the chat for me. NICO.REED 38@gmail.com.
Okay,
REED 38@gmail.com.
38@gmail.com. Okay, I got you, brother.
Okay.
Gavin, yours is Gavin Rashad Esquire. $sign Gavin Rashad Esquire.
That's my Cash App, and I'm mistaken. It's actually because the FBI, I think, was established a little bit before that. But I think I know for a fact the Federal Reserve was established in 1913, and the ADL was also established that same year. From the information that I'm looking at, and if you look, it's on Wikipedia. You can go and look at this stuff, but it was passed over the Christmas holidays. That's what happened. One of the reasons why we have high student loans and interest rates. I wish Judge would have stayed on longer. We were talking about his favorite president. That would have been your former governor, Hannibal St. Ronald Reagan.
Right, because keep going.
Well, he made it easier for banks to charge interest on student loans.
Mm-hmm.
And he passed in the 80s.
Because Judge said during the time college was free, they wasn't paying the tuition.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Man.
Coming to hustle.
Yeah.
Oh, I was shut myself out. And you can get me at King BJ Johnson YouTube, kingbjmedia.com, kingbj kingfitness.com, kingbjfitness.com, and if you want to, but not pressing, $1919 BJ is my cash app. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because Hannah, you made some great points, man. I'm glad you came in. And I do.
And I also want to say this. Gavin is right that black men, we don't read. We don't. We need to start taking politics serious because I'm not. I'm gonna say this. I can't be mad at black women who get into politics, who want to be loyal to the Democratic Party because black men just dropped the ball, and we have this attitude of they all the same, they both racist, so I'm not gonna vote. And then we keep getting the same results. At some point, we gotta start looking at what we're doing and change it. Now, I'm not telling you to be a Democrat or a Republican. I mean, you can be an independent, but goddamn, start participating in politics because black women are getting what they want up out of this, whether we like it or not. And so we can't sit up here and get mad at them. We the ones that dropped the ball at the end of the day. So they ain't got no choice but to be loyal to the Democratic Party. Cause every time I go outside, black men they want to be pro-black and I don't want to participate in politics. Well, how you expect for anything to change in your community, but you say you want to do for the community? Like a lot of this stuff does not add up with us, man. And I appreciate people like Rashard because he's into law. You a lawyer, right?
Yeah.
So you into this stuff, and we need more. Well, I'm not for to say that like Joe Biden, he's a goofy, but I'm just saying like we need to really pay attention to this stuff and start reading, man. Seriously, because there's no way in hell that we let black women just convince the whole world that every black person was supporting Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Like the whole world thinks that. Now, me and you, well, us, we may not think that because we live here in America, but it's the people that's outside of this country that's looking at TV and just laughing at us. So when stuff goes down, they're going to blame the powers that be, but also going to be looking at us. They're going to be looking at us, and they're going to be like, well, I remember, they be like, I remember you all on the internet talking about Kamala Harris. And who's that other girl that's in Atlanta, the chubby chick?
Oh, Stacey Abrams?
Yeah. If she go to jail off of this stuff, that's on her.
Wait, I don't know what's she going to jail for.
Well, if they say that
stuff, a lot of stuff went down.
Yeah, for the whole little Georgia voting process.
They won't get her though. They'll go after somebody lower level like that woman and her daughter that got caught moving the ballots underneath the table. They'll go after somebody lower level. They don't. They would probably they might go out to state on the congressional level maybe, but really they really have no position. Real. She's not a mayor. She's not a senator. Who she's just propped up. So
right.
She doesn't have no position. Like, what's her position? I would find out. I mean, if she was that good, she would have got governor, right? If she was that good, people would have came to support her, right?
Yeah.
I mean, hey, and like I said, a lot of people got mad when Gillum didn't get elected in Florida, but actually, tell you the truth, all jokes aside, I probably rather the guy DeSantis being there right now than Gillum, because with Gillum, we know we would have got.
That man's embarrassed me.
Hey, man, we would have got Dwayne Wade, man. We would have got Dwayne Wade, man.
It's sad the way he going out, and I just don't see how people that's in the NBA not even pulling him to the side and saying, "Bro, what's going on? Talk to me."
Hey man, Gavin got so mad with that thing with Gavin Union the way Wade, he ready to blow his top when he saw that crazy mess. I don't leave my
because
house. We said, Gavin, I don't leave my house.
Again, so I'm
Hey,
not. No,
okay, we won't
y'all can talk. I won't say nothing, but I mean, well, I'll just say this. I don't care. Dwayne Wade, I think that he's an alpha male on the basketball court, one of the best ever alpha male on the basketball court.
of course.
In reality, though, as a man,
No.
straight freaking beta male. And I'll just leave it.
Yeah.
I think his wife, I've been critical of her. I think that she takes that. This is just my personal opinion. And I'm not making light of what happened to her in the past, because that was horrible.
Yeah.
But and I hope she got justice, and I believe she did get justice out of it. I know she
I
made,
think she did.
but I think that there's something there that she takes it out on other black men, and possibly taking it out on this kid.
Well,
Yeah, black men just make better decisions,
This
man.
is too much for a child. This is just me. You know what? I don't want to get further, but I just think it's just too much when I look at it. It's not me being a hater. I just looking at it. I can't believe some of the stuff I'm witnessing.
I can't
with
believe
that
it
being
either.
said, brother,
Yeah.
with that being said, I got to run off and get handle some things. But I'm glad that y'all, came in and made this an excellent podcast, a great night. Hannibal, come back anytime and take your time and just watch out in
Yeah.
California. Gavin, you do the same in New Orleans, and I'm gonna do the same here in Virginia, Richmond, Virginia, to be honest. And y'all take your time and y'all have a wonderful night. Much respect.
Happy birthday, Mom.
Yeah, happy birthday, Mom.
All right, peace. Yeah, tell her I said happy birthday too, man. And yeah, peace. I'm out, y'all.
All right now.
All right.
Gotcha.
Yeah. All right.